show. Welcome, listeners. You are tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
Hang on.
Welcome, listeners. You are tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie. Sorry about that, listeners. Welcome. You are tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
Hello, everybody.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And every week we have a different topic under that general umbrella. And we broadcast on CIVL on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation. And we also live stream the show on our Facebook group called Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group and on my YouTube channel. And if you love the show, it's been happening for over probably 4 or 5 years now.
Over 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, and we have got many, many, many episodes in the podcast stream. So you can go to my website, drlesliephillips.com, to watch all the hundreds of previous episodes, if that is what you would like. And you can also get us on all the major podcasting platforms as well. So one of our favorite topics, and we talk about it a lot, is psychic abilities.
Yes, yay.
Yay. And we've been following a kind of theme about that. And today we thought it would be quite cool to talk about relationships and psychic abilities. And how can developing your psychic abilities help you in your relationships?
Or even find one.
Yes, or it might even help you to find a relationship. And so I thought we could sort of try and break that down into a few different ways in which your psychic abilities might help you. And of course, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing it for over 20 years. And I would say that relationship questions are really, really common.
Yes.
And
all kinds of relationship questions too, like all kinds of relationships, not just relationship questions, but all kinds of different relationships as well. Romantic, right. Work, friends, family.
Absolutely right. So relationship questions are super, super common. And so I think it would be great. I think everyone would agree how fantastic it would be if you could answer your own relationship questions and not have to go to somebody else and say, is this person right for me? Or should I leave them? Or does this person like me and find me attractive? Will I embarrass myself if I ask them out on a date? Or, which one should I choose between? Any number of relationship questions that you might come up with. And, why don't we know the answers to that? And the reason is that we're not tapping into our higher guidance. And so you come and see somebody like me who can tap into their higher guidance and reflect some information back at you. But I think it would be great for everyone to be able to access their higher guidance and to be able to know themselves and know their own information. So I think that the number one benefit of how your psychic abilities can help you in your relationships is to answer your relationship questions. And what I was going to say is, so why do we get discombobulated? And there's a number of reasons that you might get discombobulated. And one of them could be that you I don't know, you're, instead of being in your intuition, you're in your intellect, trying to figure it out, or you're in your emotional reactions. Whereas your intuition is going to help you to be neutral and simply observe your unique perspective and your unique truth. And of course, it's going to help you make decisions in your relationships. If you are able to connect with your psychic abilities, then anytime you have a relationship decision, you can tap into your intuition. And I think I get clients all the time who, a lot of them online dating and fed up with it, and wouldn't it be good if you could know in advance which ones to even connect with? And you can do that by tapping into your intuition. And again, like I said, being able to make relationship decisions. Should I stay together with this person? Should I leave them? And so on.
So Eric says, we've got a couple of questions already, but Eric says, please give some practical methods we can apply so we can apply this, and we will in the second or third part of the show.
Yes, and of course, Eric, that's my specialty, is teaching psychic abilities. And I definitely advise you to check out my website, drlesliephillips.com, because there's many psychic development courses available through the School of Intuition, which is my psychic development school. Now, the other thing I think is a great benefit that can really, really help you in your relationships is, one of the main ways of developing intuition is through meditation. And in actual fact, that's how I teach people to do it, through meditation. Not just any meditation techniques, but some very, very specific meditation techniques that they're called the ancient mystery teachings. Now, those specific meditation techniques help you activate and access your psychic abilities, but they also have the knock-on effect of all forms of meditation, which are very, very wide reaching. And so when you meditate, it's going to calm you down. It's going to reduce anxiety. It's going to relieve stress and fear and all of those things that can happen that then have an impact in our relationships. So if you're a happy, calm, relaxed person, you're going to show up as that happy, calm, relaxed person within your relationship. Whereas if you're freaked out, stressed out, and overwhelmed, you're going to show up as that freaked out, stressed out, overwhelmed person in your relationship. And so there's the very, very practices of how to tap into your intuition are highly beneficial for your relationships. And the specific techniques that I teach help you to develop neutrality. And so Eric was asking about a tip. One tip, and there is a free meditation on my website that teaches you this, is to place your consciousness in the center of your head, because that's where your third eye is. And what that gives you is neutrality, the ability to observe your reality from a completely neutral and non-judgmental perspective, above the emotions and apart from the intellect. So if you take that power of neutrality into the context of relationships, any kind of relationship, romantic or otherwise, then that is going to really, really, really help you, because you're going to be able to view the other person in a neutral way. You're going to be able to perceive their reality and their perspective in a neutral way. And you're going to be able to deliver your own communications to that person in the same fashion, as opposed to what can happen is people getting overly emotional and ending up triggering each other. So the third eye, being able to see your consciousness there, actually it's not just about being able to activate your clairvoyance. It's so much more than that, so much more than being able to see a spirit. It is the great power and attribute of being able to be neutral and above and apart from the emotional triggers and stresses that can go on.
I know we're
And
going to leave questions to the end, but I've got a couple of questions on meditation here that might be
sure,
apropos to put in at this point in time. So,
sure.
okay. So the question here is from Annika. She says, are the mantras Sa Ta Ra Ma and Ra Ma Da Sa good to meditate, used in meditation?
So my form of meditation that I teach doesn't specifically involve mantras, but I think mantras are great. And there are different ones that help you in different ways. Different mantras can help you to build energy, to enter a different energy states. The form of meditation I teach is we are working with energy directly. We are observing energy. So we're learning through our clairvoyance to see our own energy and to work with that energy and to be able to manipulate that energy and shift and change that energy in the ways that we want to. And I'll explain why. Developing your psychic abilities is a dual path. And part of the one branch of that path is, you know, all these cool things, being able to hear your guides, being able to see energy fields and so on. But you would not be able to do that if you weren't also simultaneously walking the path of self-healing. You have to heal yourself. You have to, because otherwise you're looking out through a dirty window. If you think about the analogy that your energy field is like a window, you need to keep the window clean, and so that you can look out through it and be able to see clearly. So the form of meditation I teach allows you to work with your own energy and let go of non-supportive beliefs, let go of energy, of emotional traumas that you've stored within your energy, let go of ways of using your mind and being overwhelmed with your thoughts and so on. So it's a way of training you to have not just a still mind, but kind of active in a different way than the mind that you think of in terms of your thinking brain. To be able to consciously operate as spirit through the physical body is a way of saying what this form of meditation teaches you. Did you say there was a second question about meditation?
No, just that's the main one. And also Megan said she's just started meditating again, so that's great.
Yeah, that is great. And I mean, in a way, even if you're not doing my form of meditation, anything that helps you turn within and tune out the external noise is going to help you to get to know yourself. It's going to help you have potentially start to heal yourself. And it's also going to allow you to turn within. So meditation, which is the path to developing your intuition, can help you to increase compassion, things like compassion and empathy and gratitude and love, and magnify those kinds of vibrations, which also is going to help you in your relationships. If you're doing a daily meditation and you're filling yourself full of those positive vibrations, it's going to be helpful in your interactions with other people. Now, another thing about psychic development and meditation is it teaches you to know yourself. All the ancient mystery schools, the primary thing, the primary foundation was that you had to get to know yourself first. And in knowing yourself, that goes very deeply, because then you know who you are, why you're here, what you want, and what you don't want. And that knowledge and information helps you be clear on your boundaries. So oftentimes, one thing that might make for challenging relationships is poor boundaries. You know, if you're somebody that isn't able to hold your own space and stand up for yourself, if you're somebody that it tends to get walked all over, then that's not a very helpful relationship dynamic. So meditating and developing your psychic abilities helps you know who you are, why you're here, and what you want, and also to be able to be assertive about that. And also to let go of the fight and resistance as well. Because one of the things that keeps us stuck in certain patterns within our relationships is if we get into resistance with the other person in the relationship, right? Because the more you resist, the more stuck you get. And so to be able to learn to be in a state of surrender and a state of non-resistance can also be helpful. And that's not the same as letting yourself be a pushover in some way, by the way. Now, Corey mentioned at the beginning, well, it's not just personal relationships, and he's right, it's any relationship. And so one of the relationships it helps you with is your relationship with your own body. And so maybe we'll talk about that in a few moments when we get back after these advertisements. Welcome back, listeners. You are tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey. This evening's episode of Unlocking Your Truth is about relationships and psychic abilities. What's the connection? How might one help the other? And before the break, we talked a lot about personal relationships, maybe a little bit more about romantic relationships, but we're also saying that developing your psychic abilities can help you in any and all kinds of relationships. And before the break, I mentioned your relationship with your body, because first off, you're not your body. Your body is your vessel, it's your vehicle, and it has a level of consciousness of its own that's intrinsic to that physical system of the body. And so you can either be in alignment with your body and in agreement with your body and working together, or you can be fighting each other. And so developing your psychic abilities helps you to tune into the messages within your own body and to respond to them. And there is a specific psychic ability called clairsentience, which helps you to do that. So to be able to have a level of empathy with your own self and your own body. Not only that, but meditation has been scientifically proven to help bodies heal faster, to help them sleep better, to reduce pain, to increase energy, and many, many other positive benefits. And so developing your psychic abilities through the path of meditation can help you develop a better relationship with your own body and improve the health and wellness of your own body. And apart from human relationships and the relationship with the body, of course, developing your psychic abilities is going to help you with your relationship with divine source, whether your name for that is God or supreme being or cosmic consciousness. Developing your psychic abilities helps you to attune to those greater aspects of reality, to the supreme being and higher levels of consciousness. So you start to build your relationship with your God, your personal God, your higher being, the supreme being, and all of those aspects. And it's going to help you build a relationship with your guides as well, with your spirit guides, with your angels, and with all of the different beings of light, with all of the different non-physical beings. Developing your psychic ability, helps you develop those relationships as well. Excuse me, I need to take a sip of my drink.
Oh, we all do.
Yes, from time to time. Now, I have a course on clairsentience, and it's to help these people who are very sensitive on an emotional level. And one of the things that we talk about in that course is how people get confused between different things. Like when they're in relationships, what's truly my energy and what's truly my partner's energy? And so very often in relationships, people merge their energies. And when they merge their energies, you are experiencing your partner's emotions as well as your own emotions. You're experiencing, you may be experiencing your partner's thoughts and mental patterns and stresses and everything else. And so it can be very difficult. Sometimes people think it's them and can end up making decisions and acting out of energies that are not even their own. So developing your psychic abilities can help you to be discerning about what is me, what's truly me, and what's the other person. And also things like in our culture, there is often confusion between love and sex, or merging and togetherness. And these are all merging and oneness. And these are all not necessarily the same thing and not necessarily the same vibration. So developing your psychic abilities helps you to navigate out of those kinds of confusions. And very often those things are mixing up the second and fourth chakra. So developing your psychic abilities helps you get to know your chakra system and the information that's stored in your chakra system and what belongs where as well. Now, a follow-on to that is to be able, if you develop your psychic abilities, then you're going to be able to see if someone else is manipulating you, if someone else is attempting to control you or adversely influence you. So again, developing your psychic abilities can help you be discerning in relationships, know what's you, know what's somebody else, and also know what that other person is up to. Are they being sneaky with their energy in some way, trying to get you to think the way they want you to think or feel the way that they want you to feel?
We should do a show on that.
Yeah, that would be a good one. And then I'm hoping you're all writing lots of questions.
We have lots of, anytime you want to start,
Okay,
Dr. Leslie.
One more point then, and that is developing your psychic abilities helps you express yourself better, because you get to know yourself and you know your feelings, and then it helps you to be authentic and speak your truth. So that would be another way in which developing your psychic abilities can be beneficial to personal relationships. Now I'm open to questions.
You're open to questions, are you? We've got
Yeah.
a few. We got a few to start. This is from Nate. Nate says, I find myself fixated on my ex lately. We broke up 2 years ago and I thought I moved on and was healing. But over the past months, she's been stuck in my head out of nowhere. I want nothing to do with her, but still feel this unhealthy attachment to her. Could you take a look at this and give me some input? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that question, Nate. And I'll just use this as an opportunity. Sometimes that can happen because the other person's in our space. So let's say she was thinking about you. You might pick up on that. In this case, I'm not seeing that that's the answer. So the other thing that can happen is sometimes we will go through phases in our, let's call it healing, where we are cleansing aspects of relationships, and it just comes up into our consciousness as it's being released and let go of. And now I'm just looking at you and sort of asking, where's this coming from? I am seeing some energy in your crown chakra. That's the energy center on the top of your head. And it just feels like there's some energy there that is relating to this. And we're going to just give you a hand very quickly in the time it takes to finish answering this question to move some of that energy off. So it looks like you are being plugged into in the crown chakra. And that's drawing your attention to be thinking about that person. Now, is that coming from her? Possibly. But in some ways, you don't need to worry about that. It's just move it out of your space. Now, how is that possible for that person's energy to be attaching to you like that? Sometimes it's because we've got little bits and pieces left over. So let's say you've got a resentment or a memory or just something that person's energy can attach to. So then we need to just unplug their energy and then heal and release whatever it is that's left within our system that we haven't yet healed and let go of. I hope that answers your question.
I'm sure it'll help. And this is from Fala. Fala says, hi, everyone. I'm wondering, what is the highest intention in romantic relationships?
That's a really good question.
They're all good questions.
Yes, the highest intention in a romantic relationship, I would say it is to love the person unconditionally, completely accept them 100% as they are, and not interfere with their free will in any way whatsoever, and for that to be reciprocal, and for everyone to be honest and authentic with each other. And then if at any point one person, and then you can align, or if at any point your paths are stopping to be in alignment, then you can move on from it. So I would say it's based on unconditional love and acceptance of what is, rather than having expectations of who that person should be and how they should behave, or seeking to control or manipulate them in any way. Human romantic relationships tend to be a bit more controlling.
Ready?
Yeah.
Just a quick note from Eric. Eric, your newest book is incredible. Bought 5 copies as gifts. Thank you. No, thank you, Eric.
Thank you so much. And you know what, Eric? Going back to your question about please give us some tips. I don't know if you've got to section 3 in the book yet, But at the end of the first chapter in section 3 is a link to my reader's gift. And that gives you access to 5 videos that will teach you some of these energy techniques that help you access your psychic abilities. So if you didn't spot that, I'm letting you know to go and look for that link, and then you'll be able to have your question answered through some practical meditations that you can do and see the results of yourself.
Yeah. Okay, it's a question from Michelle. She says, I have been told that some psychics cannot see how their relationships are going to turn out in the long run. Does this go for you too?
Okay. So to answer that question, let's talk about predicting the future. And a lot of people have this preconceived idea that what a psychic is somebody who predicts the future. And my perspective is you create your own reality. Every single one of us is an aspect of the divine creator, created in his image, meaning we are also creators. We completely 100% create our own reality. And also we're embedded in time and space, and we are always right here, right now, while we're in the human condition. And from how you hold your energy now, right here, right now, in this moment, sets you on your future trajectory through the quantum field, which contains all possibilities. And so what future you end up having completely depends on you. There is not one future for any individual, and there is not one future for any relationship. And so I prefer not to predict the future for people, not because I can't do it, but because I seek to empower people to realize they create their own reality and teach them how to do that by managing their energy. But if at any point in time I do delve into that space for somebody, then I make it clear to them the context for that, and I'll probably assign a percentage likelihood. I'm seeing this be the most likely scenario, and maybe that's about 75% likely to happen based on what your energy is now. But if you change your energy tomorrow, you may change your future. So I would just say that, well, I think that answers the question. I think that answers the question.
Very well, too. Thank you. And so this is from Megan. Megan says, I'm trying to connect with my spirit guides, but I don't know if I'm doing it correctly.
So that thing about, am I doing it correctly, whether it's about spirit guides or any other aspect of psychic development, is a really common question. And I would say 2 things to that. One is there's no, in some senses, there's no correctly, there's just your unique way. And also in another sense, if you're doubting and questioning, am I doing it correctly? You've got your intellect engaged, because the doubt comes from the intellect. The doubt comes from you trying to understand the psychic, the spiritual, through the brain, through the mind. And so if you're ever doubting yourself, that's a big clue that you're approaching your spiritual work through your thinking mind, rather than directly as spirit.
Very interesting.
You know, I have lots of people come to me who want to learn how to communicate with their spirit guides. And again, lots of my courses have teach that in them. I'm just starting a clairaudience course this week. We work a lot with guides in that course, for example. And so sometimes what can be helpful is to have a teacher who can talk you through some different ways of doing it, and who can also observe you as you're doing it to give you positive feedback about. So for example, sometimes I might be teaching somebody and they get they see something vague. I might be able to see very clearly what's happening. And so, I can help validate that they're getting something and that it's matching what's happening. And I can help guide them for example. And so, yeah, there's no right or wrong way. You've got to validate your uniqueness, but also, if you need someone to have help look at that for you, then that's possible too.
True. I guess let's just go to a break, Dr. Leslie.
Sure. We'll be back after these messages. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we say that because you're getting the live stream of the radio show before the radio show airs. And so we have to leave in places for ads.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff.
In fact, how many weeks now before what we're recording goes onto the podcast, Corey?
This will be 6 weeks.
So you're getting the material 6 weeks ahead of time by being in this group.
I might shorten it up a little bit because 6 weeks is a long time to wait for people. But
right. Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey. Tonight's episode is about psychic abilities and relationships. And we are now in that time in the show where we're answering your questions.
And this one's from Brittany. Brittany says, my question is about the relationship between my husband and I. We've been trying to conceive for over 3 years with 1 pregnancy and loss. Can you sense if there's anything blocking or causing our fertility challenges for both myself or my husband, Jeff, or the relationship between us?
Thank you for that question, because that was one relationship we didn't even talk about. Relationship with your unborn children, with your, I call them baby beings. So thank you, Brittany, for that question. Well, let's take a look and see what comes up about that. And this might be something that you might want to book a session and have a bit longer time to spend on it. But I'll see if I always feel under pressure, and this feels like a longer question, a longer answer than a very quick one. But anyway, let's just take a look at you and your husband and your fertility challenges. Well, it looks like you're working on it. It looks like you're working on it on a spiritual level. I mean, I'm seeing that, I can see the energy around both of you wanting to conceive. And I can see in spirit that it's almost like a project on a spiritual level. And then I'm seeing also the thing about having that manifest in the physical. And part of me wants to say it's a timing thing about when everyone agrees this is going to happen, yourselves and the baby being, because it's interesting times that we're in at the moment on the planet. So I think that that's part of it. And then I do think that there is some other things that we could talk about that relate to maybe different energies stored in the body that could be worked with and cleared to help allow what you're wanting to manifest to come more fully into being on a physical level. I feel like I'd need a little bit longer to just really properly look at this for you, though. But thank you for asking the question, Brittany, and giving us the opportunity to talk about baby beings.
Yes. Najiri just bought our book, Leslie.
Oh, thank you,
Talk to us.
Najiri. You like it?
No, she just bought it now.
Oh, now. Well, brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. Took you long enough, Najiri. We know Najiri, so we can say that. Okay, this is from Michelle. Michelle says, can Reiki help with your energy blocks?
Well, so Reiki is one modality. And, you know, I mean, the short answer to that is yes. A slightly longer answer is to say that, you know, I don't label the energy work I do. I just work directly with energy and seeing the energy and manipulating and changing the energy with whatever comes up in the moment to be done. And so I would say we can all clear energy blocks, and we can all use our psychic abilities to be able to observe energy blocks, and we can all use our intentions in order to and different psychic techniques in order to dissolve energy blocks. So whether you call it Reiki, whether you call it some other name or modality, I would say that is something that we can all do intrinsically by learning how to operate consciously as spirit, use our psychic abilities and work with energy.
Also, what I'm trying to figure out is how is Najiri on Facebook and
YouTube at the same time.
yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
she's got a computer, laptop and a phone.
Maybe there's two of her.
An iPad and a...
I know she has a question here for you. She says, hello, I'm struggling with the relationship with my body. My body is holding weight and craving heavy foods. I've been meditating on this for quite some time and still no breakthrough. Can you take a look and tell me any insights on blocks I may have?
I feel like there's two answers to this in a way. So one, I'll ask a question. Well, two answers. One of the answers is, it looks like it's one of the ways that your body is coping with the higher energy. And so we're being hit by higher, constantly going up in the vibrations of energy that we're being exposed to. And we're all changing very rapidly to keep a pace with how the energy is changing on the planet. So it looks like that the food and eating and craving is helping your body to feel real and helping it to feel more its density and its solidity, given what's going on energetically. And then the other hit that I got was just to say, has this just been going on really since the lockdown? Because there might just be a part that is, if the amount of social contact that you're getting has been reduced, there might also be a component that's relating to just the body's craving to be with other bodies. But I think that one of the big parts of it is it's helping your body feel real. So you might try other ways of helping your body to feel real. Exercise, relaxing baths, different things, if you're wanting to control the weight. But anyway, that's what I'm seeing the answer is. It's trying to feel itself, feel its density.
And we like keto.
Do we have any other questions?
Yes, we do. Michelle, and I think this is in response to an earlier question you answered for her. Can you please tell me if this mind melding with this new person in my life is superficial?
Mind melding. Is the mind melding superficial? I think when she says mind melding, she probably means it feels like they're getting on really well.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, as opposed to a Vulcan mind meld or something.
You do this.
Ah, yeah, or as opposed to merging energies like we were talking about earlier. It looks like there's a genuine affinity to me. It looks like there's a genuine attraction, a genuine affinity. So I don't think it's I don't think it's just superficial. I think there's a genuine connection.
I'm sorry. There's a question from Michelle that's coming up, and you'll like it. It's cute. So this is a question from Veronica. She says, how would a teenager deal with a parent manipulating their mind through hypnosis while sleeping or covert conversation? Is there a way to block any suggestions from him? Wow. That's a new one.
So, okay, so let me just repeat that to check I understood it. So the parent is asleep and the teenager is
No, I
hypnotized
think it's
the parent, or the other way
let me
around?
let me read it again. How would a teenager deal with a parent manipulating their mind through hypnosis while sleeping or covert conversation? So apparently the parent is manipulating the child. Is there a way to block any suggestions from him? Or vice versa. Are there any way to block? I mean, we're going to be discussing that next week too.
Oh. Okay, so you don't have to accept any programming from anybody. So I would say many of the energy techniques that I teach, including at some of the energy techniques in my book, can help you to deprogram yourself when someone else has programmed you. Now, part of the thing is about being aware that you've even been programmed, but it sounds like in this case, there's an awareness of it. And so there's techniques in my book. And if you don't know, my book is called Intuition and Chakras. And it gives you techniques for releasing unwanted energy from your system. So you can use those techniques to release unwanted beliefs, suggestions, and programming that somebody else has implanted in your system.
Well, also hypnosis. I've studied hypnosis and I do hypnosis. All hypnosis actually does is give you the option to choose a different route or path for something that you're doing in some form of manner. And it will not allow you to do anything that you really don't want to do. So as far as that hypnosis is concerned, all they're doing is changing how that person does something.
So it's not taking away your free will, is what
So it's really not taking away your free will. It's just suggesting to try something different. And covert conversation is like NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which also does the same. And yes, that can manipulate people to do things, but again, it cannot manipulate them to do something that they wouldn't do in the first place. So it's a pretty tight path that people have to walk on. When you see the hypnosis on stage, when people are acting like chickens, the only reason they do that is because they're fine with it.
they want to.
Well, I don't know if they want to, but they're fine with it. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents. So this is from Annika. Once I go to sleep, I often see many images, realities. How can this be useful? What do you sense?
So that's your clairvoyance in a way, and that's natural for all of us. Well, let's say a couple of things about this. So you're saying this is happening in your sleep. So in your sleep, you're in some senses you're disassociating from your physical body. You are therefore your thinking mind is not so strongly engaged. So it makes it easier for you to be aware of the non-physical. And also when you're asleep, you're moving into out of the 3D, 4D reality into a multidimensional realm. You may be doing this in your astral body, but you're definitely like traveling outside of the body. So because it's multidimensional and infinite where you're moving into, some of what you might encounter might not be relevant or useful, but you can set your intentions before you go asleep to program your dreams so that you will have experiences that are useful to you. So you can do that, and you can keep a dream diary, and you can try and program yourself to come up with answers to your own questions, for example. Or you could train yourself to become lucid and then direct where you go in your out of body experience. And so I think all of this psychic stuff, a lot of people think, well, it's something that just happens to you and you just get these random visions, but you can direct it. You can, just as I can decide to look at my computer screen right now with my eyes, I can decide with my clairvoyance what I want to look at and what I don't want to look at. So maybe one of you might ask a question and I might say, no, I don't want to look at that, because it's my free will, what I choose to do with my senses. So you can learn to direct it, Annika, I guess is the short answer, so that it is useful and interesting to you.
Okay. And this is from Fala. Fala says, since it is co-creation, my energy is only part of the equation. The future is also decided by the other party, right? Care to expand on this?
Okay. Let's see. I do care to expand on it, but I'm trying to see how I can expand on it in a simple way without getting really complex. Everyone's always got free will. So you can always get what you want. And if somebody that you're co-creating with ceases to be in alignment with what it is that you're creating, then that person may no longer be a player with you in that creation. Maybe they'll be replaced with somebody else who is. Maybe you'll end up in a parallel reality with a different version of that person. Maybe you'll end up in a parallel reality with the version of that person that you're co-creating with that wants exactly the same that you do. So there's different frameworks we can look at that question through. But I would say, and another way of saying it is, there is a thing called consensus reality. So maybe a consensus reality for humans is there's time and space and gravity and the illusion of solid objects. That's a consensus reality that we all agree to create within. We could change some of those things, but we don't, So I guess there's various levels of what we might call consensus realities as well. We might call the field of biology a consensus reality, the field of chemistry a consensus reality. We might call real estate a consensus reality. So we all sort of volunteer to kind of agree certain things together to be part of a co-creation. But I wouldn't ever say that you, outside of the major parameters like gravity and time and space and those kinds of things, you can create what you want. And if someone that you're wishing to create it with is out of alignment with you, then you may not create it with that person. Or, does that make sense?
I guess. Last question quickly, because we're out of time. This is from Michelle. So I just read in the book that you can be in different places simultaneously in the quantum field. To help fathom this, would that be like the TV show Outlander?
Yeah, but she's not. Well, I
Yes,
don't
she
remember
is.
which part of my book, but she's jumping timelines, isn't she? But there's still
She
only
is.
one of her.
Yeah, but she's in the earlier timeline of the future and the present timeline in the past. So
Yeah, but I don't know if if in my book, maybe I'm talking about like a bodhisattva type state where,
She just said read in a book, not your book.
oh, right, where there's
There are other books. There are other books around.
multiple copies of, because I mean, for example, you can be operating your astral body and your physical body simultaneously and have them be doing different things. The bodhisattvas can have, well, think of the ascended masters, Jesus, Buddha, they're available to everyone. Everyone on the planet could simultaneously be having a completely different conversation with those beings, and it be a genuine conversation.
Well, that's it for tonight, Dr. Leslie.
Oh, we packed a lot into an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone, and we'll be back next Tuesday at 7 Pacific time for another fantastic episode of Unlocking Your Truth.
And we'll learn how to recognize manipulation and lying then. Take care,
Is that
everyone.
what our topic is? Oh,
Yep.
cool.
I
Bye,
thought so.
everybody.